After 12 years of excellent service for the club, David De Gea is no longer a part of Man United. During his time in the club, he was a very impactful and valuable player for the most part. After the retirement of Sir Alex Ferguson, the club made several changes to the squad, the managerial structure, and the style of play for the next 5 to 6 years. But the only constant throughout this process was David De Gea because he was believed to be an indispensable part of the team. In this 12-year stretch, he has had amazing moments, made the most inhumane saves, and cemented his legacy as one of the greatest goalkeepers in the history of this game. But undoubtedly, his best season in the club was the 2017-18 season, where he had the greatest goalkeeping season of all time. De Gea joined Man United from Atletico Madrid in 2011. As Edwin van der Sar was regressing, Sir Alex wanted a goalkeeper who was good enough to serve the club for over a decade. Hence, a teenage De Gea was bought for 18.9 million euros, which was a British record for a goalkeeper at the time. This signing was proving to be a flop, as he was struggling in the beginning. He wasn't as physical, he made a few errors which put a lot of pressure on him. But De Gea was able to weather this storm under the tutelage of Sir Alex and Eric Steele. He was an integral part of United's 2013 Premier League victory, which is why he made the PFA Team of the Year that season. This was his breakthrough year as he emerged as one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. From this point onwards, there was no looking back. Even with relatively bad rosters and incompetent defenses, he was able to keep the team at bay with his incredible saves. By 2015, he was unanimously the best goalkeeper in the league and debatably the second best in the world behind Manuel Neuer. But in the 2016-17 season, he was widely considered as the best goalkeeper in the world after Neuer's comparatively poor season and De Gea's gradual ascent as a shot-stopping machine. He played a major role in helping United win the FA Cup and the EFL Cup that season. So, he had a lot of pressure coming into the 2017-18 season. The centre-back pairing was Phil Jones and Chris Smalling, who weren't bad defenders, but they just didn't fit well into Mourinho's system. So De Gea had to be great for United for them to even have a chance to contend for a title. United had a good start to the season, winning 3 out of the first 3 games. De Gea also kept 3 clean sheets, making 8 saves. But in the 4th game against Liverpool, the defense was exposed, which is when De Gea pulled off this iconic save.
He'll do something here, he does with the cross, Matip had the shot, Salah!
He made 5 saves in the game, which helped them salvage a draw. They lost to Huddersfield the next week, which made matters much worse for the club. This result was a massive letdown for a club with bigger ambitions, but they were able to bounce back quickly and collect some wins. De Gea had an absolutely incredible stretch of games, making 5 saves against Tottenham, 4 saves against Newcastle, 5 saves against City, and 7 saves against Chelsea. To top this all off, he also had this historic game against Arsenal.
Xhaka, hit by Bellerin! Brilliant save, De Gea! And again Alexis Sanchez, De Gea plunges to make another save. Kolasinac, De Gea's down again. Iwobi, Lacazette! Brilliant save! And a second save at the feet of Sanchez!
14 saves, the most in a Premier League game. This performance was so incredible that even Arsenal fans were amazed.
I told you De Gea is the best goalie in the world. I told you, blood. You see now, fam. And it's like someone put Juju on the goal, blood.
David De Gea could save the fucking Titanic.
United then had a relatively easier set of games, so De Gea was able to keep a clean sheet for 5 of the next 7 games. They were also able to top their table in the UCL group stage, and in the round of 16, they were up against Sevilla. This team had a potent offense, with guys like Sarabia, Vasquez and Muriel leading the attack. United were also inconsistent with their performances, especially in attack, as they failed to score against Tottenham and Newcastle in alternate weeks. So, in the first leg of the round of 16 against Sevilla, De Gea decided to do this.
Forward, given the start tonight and getting an early attempt away, forcing a sixer. The overhead and Zonzi's header, what a save by De Gea!
He made 8 saves that night, which is still the most by a United goalkeeper in the UCL. This save from Muriel's header is probably the best save I've ever seen. The speed with which it was struck at such a close distance, it should have surely been a goal, but De Gea somehow denies it. He followed up this historic performance by making 7 saves against Chelsea, which helped United get a 2-1 victory. Unfortunately, his magic in the UCL couldn't last longer as Sevilla beat them 2-1 in the second leg. And this is one of the major disadvantages of having a goalkeeper as the best player in the team. They had to score goals to win games, which was a major problem that season. Even though De Gea put up a man-of-the-match performance in the first leg against Sevilla, the scoreline was 0-0. Another factor was the very ordinary defense he played behind. Irrespective of how good he was on a given night, a potent attacking team could just tear apart the defensive line and relentlessly get shots on target. This was what happened in that historic game against Arsenal. He made 14 saves and United still conceded a goal. The next highlight of this season was the game against Manchester City. United were able to come back from being 2 goals down to winning 3-2. And This was also the game he produced this iconic save.
Again, Sane. Oh, what a save, De Gea! I don't believe that, sure. I keep saying that about our goalkeeper. That.
Over the last few matches of the season, United won 3 games, lost 2 and drew 1. De Gea was doing what he did the best, making 12 saves in the 6-game stretch, keeping 2 clean sheets. Despite him making 2 saves, United lost the FA Cup final 1-0 against Chelsea. He made 115 saves in the Premier League season, which was the 5th highest in the league. He also kept 18 clean sheets, which was the most in the Premier League that season, which is why he won the Golden Glove. He had a save percentage of 81% this season, which wasn't just the most in that Premier League season, but it is the best save percentage in the Premier League over the last 13 years. Many goalkeepers in the previous era have had a higher save percentage than De Gea in this season, but that could be partly because the offensive systems weren't as advanced back then. So having a higher save percentage in this era is much more difficult. In 2010, Edwin van der Sar had a save percentage of over 80%, but he had to make only 57 saves. Petr had to make just 61 saves to have a save percentage of over 80% in 2008. So a better indicator would be to see how many goals De Gea prevented. In that season, he prevented 13.7 goals, which wasn't just the highest in the Premier League that season, not just the highest in the world, but it was and still is the most goals prevented by any goalkeeper in any season of the last 17 years. In 2017, De Gea prevented 5.9 goals and was considered the best in the world. Somehow, he was twice as good in the following 2017-18 season. He was also pretty good with his passing this season. He had a pass completion rate of just 62%, which doesn't sound good. But he had a pass accuracy of 98.7% on his short passes and 99.3% on his medium passes. His percentage took a hit because he had a pass accuracy of just 45% on his long passes. This was because he played in a system where keeping possession of the ball wasn't the primary objective of the team. Instead, they played a lot for the second ball and were counter-attacking, so he wasn't always supposed to make a good pass. He also had 6 shot creating actions and 3 goal creating actions throughout the course of that season, which was the most by any goalkeeper in the world. This performance has also revolutionized modern goalkeeping because traditionally they used their hands to stop shots, even if it meant that they had to bend a lot to get to the ball. So they often lost a few seconds while getting to the ball. De Gea in this season showed the world that making saves with your foot could also be really effective, as it saves time and you could direct the ball wherever you want to. Since this season, De Gea never reached this level of goalkeeping brilliance. He made a lot of mistakes in the following 2018-19 season and had his worst season of his career in 2020. He was also pretty inconsistent in the 2020-21 season. However, he was able to make a comeback as he was amazing in the following season and was pretty good last season too. Although he has made a couple of mistakes, he has been unfairly criticized over the past year. With that being said, some of the criticisms have been valid and he is not the type of goalkeeper Ten Hag wants. So, selling him wasn't the worst thing United could do. Irrespective of how his career pans out in a new club, he will always be remembered for his splendid goalkeeping, especially in the 2017-18 season when he had the greatest goalkeeping season of all time. With that being said, I want to know what you guys think about this topic. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and as always, until next time.
It's running.